Hello there guys and welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Hunters video. Today I'm going to be discussing whether or not Hunters should have a ranked mode in the game. In short, I absolutely think it should, but for the rest of the video I'm going to dive into why I actually think that. Now there are a number of reasons as to why I think a ranked mode would be beneficial for the game, and the main one is simply due to the competitiveness. I love competitive gaming and it's why my favourite games typically are multiplayer. I love the idea of doing better than other real players, whether that's scoring awesome goals in Rocket League, wiping out a team in a battle royale, or simply winning a 1v1 in Call of Duty. Now you absolutely do not need a ranked mode to get any of those accolades, but a ranked mode can be far more rewarding and fair. It's rewarding in two ways. One, it means you're beating other players of a similar ability to yourself, and two, you usually get rewards for reaching a certain rank, so you benefit from playing well. It's also a bit fairer than casual matchmaking because in ranked modes you're typically put up against players with a similar ability and rank, and games will therefore be more competitive and challenging as opposed to going up against first time players. Talking a little bit more about matchmaking, if you have a ranked playlist and a casual playlist, then that scratches the itch for both sets of players. The competitive players will typically choose to play in the ranked playlist, whereas the casual players will play in the casual playlist, which means that in the casual playlist, those who deem themselves as noobs or those who just want to chill out have a much lower chance of being destroyed by some crazy good players, as they'll likely be over in the ranked playlist. With that being said, a lot of people who play ranked modes will likely be in teams, so that they can communicate and win as much as possible, whereas a lot of other players will probably be solo queuing, which means that the communication is very minimal and you may not get the result you want, but that is obviously just gaming. I personally think that games like Call of Duty try a bit too hard to keep all of the players together through SBMM, so skill-based matchmaking. What I found in the last two CODs especially is that you could be absolutely destroying the enemy team for about 2 to 4 games, and then for the next 10 or so, depending on how long you play for, you then get absolutely ruined instead. In Warzone, it's a very similar story. In my opinion, Warzone is one of the harder battle royales to actually get wins in, so matches will certainly be a challenge anyway, but when you do get that glorious victory, like the multiplayer, you then proceed to get destroyed by anything that moves. Skill-based matchmaking as an idea is really solid, however, I just don't think Call of Duty and a lot of other games have really utilised it particularly well. Yes, it keeps the player base all together in one playlist, but it can very quickly make a casual gaming session turn into a sweatfest, which I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that a lot of people will dislike that. What I'm trying to get at here is that if you split up into a casual playlist and a ranked playlist, you don't have to try so hard to make skill-based matchmaking work, and it can potentially provide all players with the experiences they actually want. I think it's quite clear how all of this applies to Star Wars Hunters, but if it's not, then allow me to briefly elaborate for you. So I personally think that Hunters should have 2 playlists. One for casual players and one for ranked. That way all the competitive players can have their scratch itched and casual players won't have to worry so much about the sweatfest that can be online multiplayer. I think it would be good to have a player versus AI playlist as well, but that's for another video, so be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that one. I think it's also worth noting that Hunters will likely have multiple game modes. How many we don't yet know, but we do know that there will at least be one with a zone in the middle that you have to hold for a certain time, and there's also a lot of evidence for Hutball as well. Either way, once you choose a playlist, you then should be able to choose which mode you want to play within that as well. By doing that, you're giving players complete control over what it is they want to play, and I think that's a really good thing to do. Of course, there would always be a slight concern that it's somewhat splitting up the player base a bit too much. However, given that the game is going to be free to play on mobile and Switch, I think this game has the potential to reach a huge player count if it is good, so I don't think it's really of any concern. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to touch on for the matchmaking side of things, but now I wanted to go over the reward system. What I think would be really cool is if they used the Star Wars Squadrons approach mixed with the Rocket League approach. So if you're unsure, allow me to explain what each game does. So with Squadrons, the top 3 ranks in the game have 2 helmets each that you can earn, so when you reach that rank for the very first time, you are rewarded with a helmet for the Rebels and one for the Empire. This means that you'll get to show it off to the people and it looks pretty cool as well. Sadly, I'll never be able to get them as I'm nowhere near good enough for that, nor do I have the patience or time to get good either. But no matter what rank you end up in by the end of each operation, so season, you are then rewarded with a bunch of glory, the currency used to purchase cosmetics within the game. With Rocket League, you then have to get a certain number of wins in that rank to unlock the reward. So firstly, you need to play 10 games to get ranked, the same goes for Squadrons, and then once you are ranked, you then get to play for the season reward. So let's say you get put in Gold 3, that means in order to get the Gold season reward you need to get 30 wins. 10 wins gives you the Bronze reward, 20 wins gives you the Silver reward, and 30 wins gives you the Gold reward. To get a better reward, however, you must get into the higher ranks. The next one up from Gold is Platinum, so to get the Platinum reward you need to get into that rank and then win 10 games. If let's say you win 5 games and then go back down to Gold, you can then no longer progress that bar until you actually get back into Platinum. The season reward is then given to the players at the very start of the next season, and it can be pretty much anything from a boost trail, a goal celebration, a paint job for the car, or even player identity. Applying all of this to hunters then, I think it would be really cool to reward players for reaching a certain rank for the very first time with a skin for one of the hunters in the game. I then think the game should have seasons which will then reward players for winning a certain amount of games in a specific rank at the end of each one. I personally think that those rewards would have to be player identity though, as I think locking a bunch of skins that you'll never be able to earn again behind ranks would annoy a lot of people, especially as it's Star Wars, and I know a lot of people, including myself, will want to unlock every single skin. Player identity stuff I'm not so worried about though, but with skins for characters and weapons I'd care an awful lot. I also think player identity stuff will allow players to boast their achievements a bit more than skins would anyway. No matter how ranked is handled, as long as there's a reward at the end of each season, assuming there is seasons, I think it would definitely motivate a lot of people to keep rising up the ranks to get there. Of course, there may not even be a ranked system in the game, but I do think it would be very beneficial. If the game has custom matches as well, then it provides you with the opportunity for esports as well, and that's just another competitive itch. However, that is an entirely different subject that I won't touch on today. So in short, I think hunters should have a ranked mode, as it will cater to all audiences in some way, whether it's scratching a competitive itch or making casual modes less sweaty, as well as being a rewarding experience for those who rank highly, or even if you just rank one division higher than the previous season, that can feel really good as well. Anyway guys, that is going to do it from me today. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.